Now, I'm not one to over-exaggerate or oversell you guys, but this very well may be the most jam-packed show we do in the entire 2026 calendar year. This is the Overtime Drive. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Colton Bear Thompson. We got a ton to get into. Transfer portal madness, I want to say, has hit its peak. Maybe not. I don't want to speak too soon. I'm sure there's more that will come out, but we have got so many names to get into, so many storylines, tampering, contracts, buyouts, what have you, all the things that we love about college football. Oh, by the way, it's game day eve. Fiesta Bowl tomorrow night. We're excited for Ole Miss Miami in Glendale, and of course, Indiana and Oregon on Friday. Tons to discuss, tons to get into. We're taking your questions, your comments, everything in between. We appreciate you all being here, guys. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out across all the social media platforms, wherever you get your podcasts, our website, secunfiltered.com. And, of course, make sure you check out our friends over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that's our friends at Underdog. Promo code SECU to get $75 in bonus entries today. Once again, I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly SEC football show, at least. That's what it'll be known for the next 2 weeks or so before we relaunch and rebrand this thing. Either way, we're excited to have you all here. This one is a jam-packed show. Somehow, we're going to try to not go like 3 hours on you guys, because just over the course of the last couple days, 48, 72 hours, there's been so many names that have entered themselves in the transfer portal. Some guys pulling themselves out, but there's tons of news. There's probably going to be some that pop up while we're on the air. This thing, I think there's over 4,000 players that have entered and counting in the portal. So once again, we're going to try to get into these top names for you. Some reactions to some guys who have made their announcements where they're going public. Some other news with who knew it, who'd have guessed it, LSU, Lane Kiffin. They're back at the top of the headlines. Again, lots to get into here on a Wednesday afternoon, January the 7th. Like I mentioned, I'm Chris Phillips. Cole, what's going on? Was great to have you in Nashville, my friend. We won't spend a ton of time on it because this isn't FCS Unfiltered, but my God, you and I got to witness probably the best game of the 2025 season, at least. Maybe I got a little flack for game of the year. The year just started. I don't know that you'll see a wackier college football game than what we saw. Montana State had 10 false starts and found a way to win a football game, which shouldn't be legal. Did everything they could to lose it. Illinois State with the company. Dude, that was as much fun as I had at a football game.
And finding their way to come back, making it a fourth down delivery.
It was as much fun as I had at a football game all season. Like straight up. Any SEC game, you name them, that was incredible.
It was a phenomenal experience. Shout out to all the Montana State people that I got to be sitting with. They were fantastic. I want to give a shout out to Dalton and his wife, Ashley, because they were kind people. They subscribed to the pod because of how much that they enjoyed just the conversation we had. But I mean, dude, here's another stat for you. They had the ball for 19 minutes. Illinois State held the football for almost 40 minutes, and they still won the game because of a fourth down conversion. Gotta have touchdown by a man named Taco, of all people, just to throw that much into it. And on top of it, 2 block kicks are the difference in this game, from 1 going to overtime and 2 winning a national championship for the first time in 41 years. Funny story. Montana is the 41st state in the union, and everyone said it was a year of destiny because they hadn't won a title in 41 years. So credit where credit's due to the Montana State people. What an experience. What a great just atmosphere. And I agree with you, dude. Like, far and away, that was the purest college football game I have been to in years. I loved every single second of it, and it was without a doubt a top 3 game in college football this year, regardless of the level you play at.
No portal. No NIL, just all vibes, baby. All college football. That's which, again, I know I'm probably wrong because I think Taco, you and I were discussing, he's already reached out to Taco Bell, Taco Casa, Taco, whoever will give him a check.
Taco
Either way,
Bell
though,
is deserving of all the love and appreciation.
Oh, no doubt. That was just peak college football and why we love it versus like the difference in the NFL. The NFL is such a clean game. Like, these are all professionals. that was peak. Like, this is just a bunch of college dudes just throwing it around and making mistakes. And God, I'd hope Illinois State goes out in the portal and pays a holder $500,000 because that's probably why they lost the game. Obviously, special teams. Either way, we had a blast. Cole, it was great to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, get to meet TJ and Tom in person. Really fun. And by the way, FCS national title back in Nashville next year. So
it's an experience that if you can afford to make the trip down to, please go to it. Like, if it's in your city, make the trip.
Next year
is fantastic.
Has a lot to live up to. Let's put it that way. So, to live up to. That being said, guys, again, we're going to go ahead and get in everything. We got a lot to discuss. Like I mentioned, we're going to try to make this show under the 2-hour mark necessarily. We're going to try to be tidy with this thing because there's just so many names, so many storylines. A couple quick housekeeping items before we get going, though. Really, really exciting for all of not just the Nashville Rebels, but just Nashville folks who enjoy SEC Unfiltered, fans of SEC Unfiltered. We're all going to be watching the Ole Miss Miami game tomorrow. We are officially teaming up with our friends at Odie's in Nashville, which is located in Midtown, right next to Riley Green's Duck Blind, Losers, Red Door. If you're familiar with Nashville, you're probably familiar with this area. Odie's is the official Ole Miss bar. They have been all season. Music City Rebels, which is an alumni organization of Ole Miss, they've been hosting their watch parties there, what have you. Pitched the idea to them. They said, hey, why not? Green light. SEC Unfiltered, Odie's watch party for the Ole Miss Miami game. Really, really excited. Excited for this event in particular. Excited for what it can mean for us down the road, obviously, as we continue to establish our footprint in Nashville. Fingers crossed, obviously, Ole Miss wins. We'll probably be doing this again for the national championship. So really, really excited. All our Nashville folks, come on out. Come on out. If you don't have plans, if you do have plans, cancel them and get to Odie's. Let's knock back some cold ones. Let's watch the Rebels beat Miami. It's going to be one hell of a time. This place gets rowdy. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Come on out to Odie's tomorrow night. Of course, kickoff at 6:30. I'll probably be getting there around 5:30 or so. And fun enough, I'll be live with Cole post-game from the bar. So it's going to be an absolute blast. Again, hopefully, and I think live celebrating a victory. Another quick update, guys. Our next show, again, we are officially transitioning to the schedule we are going to be on for the entire offseason. Of course, there are things that happen. There are things that, maybe we have to move here or there. But the schedule you guys can expect, we are really emphasizing this in 2026, getting on schedule. Monday, Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Central. So this time slot, next time you'll get us will be next Monday, and it'll be every single Monday, Wednesday. And as we get back into the 2026 season, we will add in those Sunday shows, of course, but you can expect us Monday, Wednesday. So just to keep you guys updated on the overtime drive, that is when you can expect us. And one final thing, Cole, that I'm really excited about, I've been teasing this. We do have a text and voicemail line coming very, very, very soon that we will begin to push. Because, again, love the YouTube chat, love the X chat, Facebook, but want to give you guys a direct-to line where you can voice whatever it is, ask your questions, leave us voicemails. Want you guys to be involved and part of the show. That being said, I see y'all in here. Turkey Slammers in the comments. We got a couple Rebels in here. I think that's Napoleon Cornelia. It's
actually Jerry Moore. So a lot of the names have changed. So Turkey Slammer is actually Miss Terry's Bathwater.
Okay, I figured so. I thought that was Miss Terry's Bathwater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we appreciate you all being here.
I know the audience so well that I understand when they have to switch their names who they are. Because there's only one.
Why the name switches?
I don't know. Miss Terry's Bathwater, because I'm never going to call you Turkey Slammer. I'm not. So what gives, man? What happened?
What happened? This has to be like a YouTube thing, I think.
That's my theory.
Has to be a YouTube thing. Shame on them. Shame on them for not knowing ball. All right, let's get into it, Cole. Like I mentioned, we have got tons to discuss. 24 hours ago, I certainly didn't think this would be our lead topic of conversation. But here we are, because the Damon Williams and LSU saga that has unfolded over the last, less than 24 hours has taken the college football world by storm. Essentially, I'm going to give you the cliff notes. Damon Williams is a quarterback at Washington. 4 or so days ago, he signed a new NIL deal, or signed a deal with Washington to come back in 2026. Within the last 24 hours, he made his intentions to enter the transfer portal. Who is the top team interested in Demond Williams? None other than Lane Kiffin and the LSU Tigers, which ironically enough, this interest comes out while Lane Kiffin and Sam Leavitt are at a basketball game together in Baton Rouge. So, Washington is now threatening legal action, and it sounds like they are going to be taking legal action from the standpoint of, hey, you signed a contract, you are violating said contract. What comes of it? How enforceable is it? We shall see. There's still a lot that has to unfold here. And Cole, you can fill in any blanks if I missed anything, but there are a lot of people up in arms right now. Washington folks who feel like they are being really just screwed over by this kid. I think it was like a $4 million contract or something that he signed. Kid's dynamic, by the way. Kid's a playmaker. Kid's electric. There's a reason why LSU wants him. I'm going to start with this. First off, hilarious that Lane Kiffin is sitting with Sam Leavitt and on his phone. That's probably like, and Sam Leavitt seeing it too. Like, you're telling me Lane Kiffin's marriage didn't work? Shocker. Like, this is what he was doing. This is Lane Kiffin. Like, he's got the wife next to him and the side girl on the phone, essentially. So the Demond Williams thing, here's what I'll say. There's a lot of different layers to this. But I think what irks me just as much, if not more than anything, Cole, is like, I think most of us want contracts in college football. To me, it's never made sense. Like, money changing hands, there should be a contract. It's absolutely outrageous to work off handshakes when you are dealing in the amount of money that we're talking about for these football players. Millions of dollars, high six figures, whatever. There needs to be something in writing. Hey, there's an exchange of goods here. I'm giving you something. I'm getting something. There is protection for me on my end. Whatever that clause may be, so be it. So now in this case, kid signs a contract. By the way, he announces he's going in the portal while there's some funeral going on of some teammate or some Washington student athlete. Scummy and terrible timing by whoever is dropping that on his behalf or whether it's him. Awful timing. Awful. But what irks me is I want contracts in college football because I think that will help bring the guardrails and that will bring structure and that will bring order to the chaos.
Sure.
And now you're telling me the contracts don't even mean shit. So like, it makes college football less likable to me. It does. Like, I don't like that aspect. I'm glad Washington's pushing back. And I won't be upset to see the kid at LSU because we are SEC unfiltered. I want the best players in the SEC. I think this kid would be dynamic in Lane Kiffin's offense. Like, no doubt he'd be electric. He'd be a playmaker. If you watch film on him, I mean, the dude is...
He's phenomenal. He's
incredible.
Top quarterback going into next season.
He's a great player. But good on Washington pushing back. Hey, Demond Williams, you can't just sign a contract and 4 days later just because a better deal comes around, a 25, 50%, whatever it is, increase. You can't just then dip when you've put ink to paper, you've put your name on the dotted line. Like, we signed contracts. We signed a contract with UNDERDOG for 2026. Somebody comes along next week. We can't just up and dip out on them. Like we gave them our word. We gave them our commitment. And it probably won't matter in the grand scheme of things because this is just the wild, wild west. But for his long-term career, if I'm an NFL GM, this is a scarlet letter on him. Like, this is not a positive for him. This is a negative. So I don't blame Washington. And if I were Washington, it would be my life's mission to make sure he did not play football in 2026. I would be doing everything in my power. Hey, you coming back here makes no sense. You obviously don't want to be here, but I'm going to make sure like hell you ain't going to be at LSU and you ain't going to be anywhere else. You are going to have to sit out. Now, from the LSU perspective, why do they care? I mean, if you're the one trying to get the guy, this goes beyond Demond Williams. You're trying to get the guy. Why do you give a damn? I mean, hey, let's use the rules to our advantage. But when it's happening to you, it's not so funny.
No, it's
right?
not.
So, I mean, I just, with this Demond Williams thing, I'm very fascinated to see who budges. I'm fascinated to see, is there like a buyout he has to pay? At least that would make some sort of sense. It's what coaches do. They have to pay a buyout. right? There has to be there. You can't just up and leave, because at that point, again, what is the point of having a contract? Why'd you even sign one? Why do guys sign any contracts? There at least has to be some sort of buyout. I don't know the kid. He is a kid. This is a really shitty look, in my opinion. It is I get it, go get your bag. But at some point, man, like the way you move and you operate in business, like this looks like shit on you. It does. If I'm an NFL GM, I don't like the way this looks. LSU, they shouldn't give a damn. I get it. They have become the villains of the sport.
Sure.
And it just, at the end of the day, if we can't even get structure and get some order to the madness with a contract, with contracts in place, I don't know what hope we have to have any sort of method to this madness, because that feels like the one thing that can bring it. So, yeah, I would love to see him at LSU. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to see him at LSU. Would love to see him there, because he'd be a fun player to cover for us. But, dude, Damon Williams, you can't just up and leave when you sign on the dotted line. You should not be able to do that.
But here's the thing. Yes, you can, because there is a pathway for this that we've seen before in the Big Ten. I don't know how much you guys remember the Xavier Lucas conversation, who was at Wisconsin, that went down to Miami. Well, he had signed a contract, and Wisconsin sued to try to guarantee that they got him to be locked up into his deal. Came to some agreement ultimately, and then he decided to go on down to Miami at the end of the day. The NCAA, because there are no rulings, because there are no regulations, and quite literally, there can be anybody as an agent. You have some people who have actually worked in agencies like the CAA, who have worked for Athletes First, who have been at the highest level giving advice to people. And then you have Jim Bob's second cousin that one time took a marketing class and knows what's best for the boy, like knows what's best for the guy. Like, that's it. Both of those people can be agents. So when there's no regulation that goes on, as long as conversations can continue to go, then guess what? You can find a way to get out of these contract negotiations. Now, I agree with you on both points. It'd be awesome for LSU to land a guy like Damon Williams. I had Damon Williams as my breakout quarterback going into 2026. I loved everything about his tape. I think that he is a fun player. He's got that dual threat mobility. He is a perfect fit for what Lane Kiffin wants to run. I'm telling you, he'd be fantastic down in Baton Rouge.
He looks like a smaller Michael Vick, the way he runs the ball.
I am also a fan of regulations and honoring a code. And the problem is that when everybody else out here is just like, oh, I'm going to sign a contract, then I'm going to get out of this contract because this person offers me more money. You guys realize that that's not how the real world works. Not even a little bit. You can get royally screwed because if you sign a deal and then told, oh, I like this deal better. And then you're out of money on both ends. And then you're basically at square one. So the problem is that because there's no regulation on this, it can happen. And to be completely fair, if I'm LSU, guess what I'm doing? I'm throwing up the double bird to everybody that's around me, and I'm saying, I don't care. Do you know who I am? Do you know what type of money I have down here? Do you know who is my head coach? Do you know what type of offense that we're going to run? Oh, and let's also add this into it, Chris. Indiana, in 2 years, has gone from being the worst program in college football to competing for a national title. What do you think the pressure is on Lane Kiffin to deliver immediately now that he signed on the dotted line? Oh, and let's just add this in as well. He turned a third-string running back and a Division II quarterback into the stars and the media highlights of the college football playoff. That was because of what he was able to find. So don't think for 1 second that you can just sit by idly and go, oh, well, we're going to be content at LSU. You got to make these type of moves, and you don't really care. But until the NCAA actually can step on in and regulate NIL, we're going to see more of this. Yeah, you can think that it's disrespectful and that, oh, man, we can't be nice and that we can't play the game fair. You're not supposed to play the game fair. And guess what? It's allowed. It's wrong. It's not realistic. It's great for drama. It's great for storylines in college football. We're now realizing that this is a 24/7, 365 sport, but it is a crappy deal. Because Damon Williams gave a sigh of relief to a program that really took a step forward with 9 wins this year and said, I'm going to be your guy. And then here comes Lane Kiffin going, here's much money. And then he says, no, I'm not your guy. And there has to be a fine line. There just does. You can't just say because of I'm getting paid $4 million and they're offering $6 million And then you don't tell anybody either, because apparently he just posted on Twitter and that was how everybody else found out. You can't have that happen and then not expect any backlash. But I still think he's going to find a way to get out of the deal. If Xavier Lucas can get out of his deal from Wisconsin and go down to Miami, I mean, if all things go according to plan, Damon Williams will be starting week 1 for LSU football.
I think something you highlighted is a good point. There's no leadership in college football and college athletics. That's another huge problem. That's a huge another part of this, right? There's nobody to enforce anything I'm saying. There's nobody to even slap the wrist of anybody. Really, we need somebody to be made an example of. You know, the one word we haven't mentioned, Cole, tampering. Hell, at this point, let's just retire the damn word. What does it even mean? I mean, I don't even know what tampering means anymore because everybody's doing it. So, you know, LSU absolutely tampered with the kid. Of course they did. But everybody's doing it. So I don't know how you even stop tampering at this point. Like,
you don't.
I mean, again, if we can't even be sure, you know who I feel for? I have said this before and I'll say it again. The business of college football has never been better. The money's never been better. For people like us, it's never been better because, like you said, it's 24/7, 365. We never run out of stuff to talk about. The drama's through the roof, but it's never been a worse time to be a fan. It has never been a worse time because of shit like this.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even feel good about your quarterback coming back after your school put together a package, got him to sign on the dotted line. That means nothing if the right school and the right offer comes calling. I feel for fans. I really genuinely feel for fans. And I get it. I don't want to sound like an old head. The old college football is dead and gone, though. You know, it used to be, why'd you get excited for bowl season? Why'd you get excited for the offseason, like the January? Why'd you get excited for spring practice? Because these were guys you knew. We got these guys in the next 3-4 years, man, 4 or 5 years. We're going to build around these guys. We're going to watch them grow. We're going to watch them develop. And I'm not saying the portal NIL is all bad, but I do feel for fans because that's who it impacts the game for the most. So from the business side, I love it. I love talking about it. We love the drama. From the fan part of me, I hate it. I hate it. I really do. I hate it. So
I'll take it a step further, dude. Imagine with all of NIL now, you get to go merchandise your jersey sales. You as a fan, why am I going to buy your jersey?
Why would you ever buy a jersey?
When you're going to be gone in a year.
A college jersey. That's diabolical.
Like Diego Pavia is a perfect example of he was never going to leave Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt gave him a shot. I think Trinidad Chambliss is the perfect epitome of I'm going to be back with my program for right now. As far as we know, you can go buy that jersey. But how about like a Trey Richardson? Trey Richardson broke onto the field at Vanderbilt this past year. He killed it. And I was excited to see where he goes. So now we're going to see him potentially in a Texas uniform because he's traveling down to Austin to go meet with Steve Sarkisian. And that's great for Texas. But why would I buy your jersey? Why would I give you a profit when all I am to you is a quick buck? And it sucks for fans in that standpoint. And this is not an SEC versus Big Ten conversation. This is just a straight up college football conversation. I hate this for Washington. I have a very, very welcoming feel to the Washington faithful. They've always been nothing but kind to me. So I wanted Damon Williams to stay there. I'm also in agreement with you. He's not going to be welcome back in that locker room. So I sure as hell am going to make sure that you ain't playing down in Baton Rouge, but you ain't playing for me anymore. We gave you everything that you could have offered, and you did not think that was enough.
Two things, Cole, a statement and a question for you. Number one, I know I mentioned it earlier, but the whole dynamic of Lane Kiffin hosting Sam Leavitt on a visit, sitting next to him courtside, while all this is happening, is so laugh out loud funny and is so college football in 2026. I wonder what Sam Leavitt is thinking. I know none of us feel bad for the guys because they're all getting paid so well. But still, like, I can't imagine being him sitting there courtside next to Lane Kiffin being like, well, I guess I'm visiting Tennessee tomorrow, which he is. So, like, I guess he's like, well, I'm looking forward to that Rocky Top trip more than I was. That is so funny. That is so funny.
Well, what's interesting is like you're talking about like Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman touched out today at Texas Tech. And everyone's like, okay, he's going to be a part of Texas Tech. He's going to be a part of the, like, he's going to potentially go there. Everything's going to be great. Well, he tomorrow has a lined up visit with Alabama. So it's like, we can't even be excited as a Texas Tech fan because of he's not signing there. Because guess what? They're already meeting with another wide receiver after you. And so you got Sam Levitt sitting down. It's like, my agent probably has already reached out to me and said they called Damon Williams. All right, screw it. Let's schedule a visit to Tennessee. Let's see what we got. Because everywhere else, apparently, I go, I'm just not welcome. So let's figure it out.
Cole, in closing here, we do need to just mention this. Let's just say hypothetically, Damon Williams lands at LSU. Your immediate thoughts, how it changes your opinion on the Tigers, but your projection for him, what it would mean for LSU.
You're giving him Lane Kiffin as his head coach and play caller. Oh, and on top of that, you also get Charlie Wise Jr., who turned Trinidad Chambliss into, my opinion, a guy who should have been in New York City. Hell yeah. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Nobody should be worried about Lane Kiffin and LSU's offense. Like, if anything, you got to be worried about what you're adding in defensively because of a Division II quarterback is playing in the college football playoff semifinal. He'll figure it out. He can miss out on Damon Williams and he'll figure it out. But if you land Damon Williams, that's a freaking awesome haul.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he's going to be electric. Again, you watch just 5 seconds of his Washington tape. Kid is a playmaker.
Yeah.
Cole, let's move to this. Let's go to from Baton Rouge to Oxford, which we've essentially been doing the last 2 or 3 months. Anyways, huge news over the last couple days. Trinidad Chambliss and Kewan Lacy have made it clear they're back in 2026. Obviously, Chambliss pending him getting the waiver to come back, but the big one, especially, Cole, Kewan Lacy making his intentions clear. He'll be back for the Rebels in 2026. And you and I both agreed, man, I think Pete Golding just won the offseason. It's going to take a pretty big move to trump this one, especially when you think about, Kevin Smith and his movement, Lane going to Baton Rouge, and everybody's just assuming that it's going to be Kewan Lacy following him. Is Trinidad going to go too? You know what I think this says, Cole? And it's not a shot at Lane, but you got to give Pete credit here. Lane Kiffin, hell of a coach, hell of a football coach. Nobody's denying that. To me, what this says, 2 things. Number one, culture still matters in college football. It does. Culture matters. And the second thing it says to me, Pete Golding is the heartbeat of that culture.
Sure.
Like he is the guy that those players look at as like, this dude is the guy to keep that culture together. Lane Kiffin, great coach, but I think it must hit different. Now, listen, Kewan Lacy's getting paid. Let's throw that out there. We all know he's getting paid. He ain't coming back for free. But I was happy to see this because, again, culture still matters. I think it's 2 guys that feel loyal to Ole Miss for getting their shot with them. You heard Trinidad Chambliss say that. Listen, Ole Miss brought me in when nobody was going to bring me in, and they gave me the shot. I owe it to Ole Miss to come back. What a refreshing take. What a refreshing take. I owe it to Ole Miss to be back. He gets his top running back. He gets his top offensive playmaker, Kewan Lacy. And Cole, the Rebels are not going anywhere, especially on offense.
You know what I can really appreciate? You heard in the interview on ESPN that, he did talk to Lane Kiffin. How many people would just lie and say, oh, no, it was always meant to be at Ole Miss? No. This is where it's supposed to be. He made it clear. Yeah, there was a conversation going on. I thought that was a mature answer to talk about what is the current status of college football and also show your individual, I would say, moral grounds. I think that's a win for Ole Miss because not only are you getting back your quarterback, which is a good thing if the eligibility waiver does go through. So let's throw that out there. It's a big if, but if it is, he's back. The other thing is that it also allows a lot of people to understand the guy that bet on himself to be a backup, to fight his way up the pecking order, understanding that he may only be a rental option to lead his team to a college football playoff semifinal. That resonates with a lot of names. And that resonates with a lot of people who can create a foundation for a new regime that still has the same identity. I think that's a major win for Pete Golding. I thought there were 4 names that you could not lose if you were Ole Miss, if you want to come back and feel pretty good about yourself. Number 1 was Trinidad Chambliss. Number 2 was Kewan Lacy. Number 3 was William Eccles. And number 4 was Winston Watkins, the wide receiver who is going to be a sophomore next year. 3 of those 4 have already re-signed. The fourth one, from what it seems like right now, is probably also going to resign. So to have that already in place with their schedule, with a play caller in John David Baker, who comes from Lane Kiffin's coaching tree. He went to ECU to learn how to become a full-time play caller, but he was on Ole Miss's staff for years as the tight ends coach. To have a good relationship with Pete Golding, to know that your NIL collective is in order to where you are paying for the non-negotiable players, all those things added on up. I think that's a massive win for the future of what Ole Miss football is. And it also does show you one other major caveat. On paper, we think that the LSU job is better than any other job in college football because of it is. History says so. What you get in terms of resources, in terms of overall ambiance, first-round draft picks, the consistency in NIL funds, regulation when it comes to overall personnel groups, what you have in workout facilities. But that was before NIL became such a big-time deal. That was before it was basically go ahead and afford whoever you can, and it's not regulated. So if you can afford it, go do it. All LSU could be in 4 or 5 years is just a job that has a lot more pressure because of what the name says on the side of the helmet. That could be it. And I'm not saying that Lane will have buyer's remorse. He's getting paid a lot of money. I think that he will win at LSU and he will take them to the playoffs. So I'm not saying any of those things. But knowing what the expectation is going to be for Ole Miss, every 3 or 4 years we're competing now for national titles. But every 2 or 3 years we go to the playoff. And then we go 9-3. Not the worst thing out there. Realistic goals, realistic expectations, money that is set aside for them to continuously go to the level of 9-3, 8-4, be a top 25 team, win against teams like Alabama and Vanderbilt, and Georgia every other year. All you're doing is you're adding in more pressure. And a place like Ole Miss is going to benefit off that because they're not putting that type of pressure. But major win for Pete Golding, major win, I think, for Kewan Lacy and for Trinidad Chambliss to go back. I think that both of them are going to be beloved and respected. I think both of them are going to have a really good shot to lead Ole Miss to another college football playoff appearance and maybe even some hardware in the process. Because I'll tell you, you have the two best 1-2 combination in the backfield, I think, going into 2026 in the SEC from proven commodities of what we know.
You mentioned Lane Kiffin, Cole. There's been a lot of discussion. Is Lane Kiffin having any regrets or what? And I don't think so. Here's the way I look at it. I think in the long term, Lane is probably going to come out the winner here. But sure. I do think in the short term, this has got to be killing him. Unless Lane is truly non-human and feels no emotion whatsoever, which I don't believe, you couple Ole Miss playing in the semis with the fact, I think he thought he was going to get Kewan Lacy.
I think that was a done deal.
We've seen we've heard the leaked phone call or whatever between he and I believe it was Kevin Smith or whoever it was. He was essentially trolling. I mean, he thought he was getting him. So to not get him, long-term Lane's going to be fine. But I definitely think short-term, this is eating at him. I have no doubts this is eating at him. And, I mean, what does that mean? I don't know. But I do think this is probably something you got to imagine that he's having a tough time dealing with. But I agree with you. Good on Trinidad Chambliss. Good on Kewan Lacy. In a world where it's all about the bag and it's all about chasing the bag. And, again, they didn't go back to Oxford for free. But it's good to see that legacy still matters. Culture still matters. Paying it back to those that gave you an opportunity. Loyalty still matters. It is good to see those things win out once or twice because most of the time, Cole, they don't. So it's good to see those. It's good to see that can still win out. It doesn't win out often, but in this scenario, I think it makes sense.
I'll tell you another thing. Ole Miss right now is number 6 in the transfer portal rankings. So even without the portal king there, which, by the way, give him a lot of credit. He brought in talent after talent. Ole Miss is still winning without Lane Kiffin in terms of getting the right pieces in the portal. So they're doing a lot of good things.
More on those portal ranking, Coles, a little bit later in the show. We are going to dive into those guys. I want to give you guys an update of where we sit when it comes to portal rankings. So more from the portal, though. And this one is a player not going anywhere, a player staying put. John Sumrall gets his first big win as Gators head coach as Jaden Baugh officially announced his intentions to stay at Florida, Cole, this was one they had to have it. They had to have Jaden Baugh back, run the damn ball. We heard John Summerall say, I believe, what was it, in the Florida State game? Ball had like 28 carries or something. He said, I'd have given it to him 15 more times. So
he
they're
called
going to run
out in the press conference to make it clear how much he wanted Jaden Baugh to be a part of his staff.
And I don't blame him. Jaden Ball's a beast. I mean,
Yeah.
Jaden Baugh was essentially exploring his options. I think he was obviously wanted by other schools. You know, was the asking price a little steep? I don't know. You know, I did thought maybe a Texas would factor in here, seeing as they could certainly use a running back. But this is huge for Florida, Cole. I mean, this dude is a playmaker. This dude's a difference maker. This is one of those, we don't see it a ton anymore in college football, but he's a true bell cow. You can get the football to 25, 30, maybe 30-plus times, and he seems to get stronger with each and every single carry. And after you lose DJ Lagway, there's a lot of question marks. You're losing Trey. Well, you've lost so many guys offensively. What does the offense look like in 2026? This dude is going to be your focal point. Massive win for John Summerall here.
Yeah, there were 3 non-negotiables for Florida when they hired John Summerall and brought in Buster Faulkner. It was retain Vernell Brown, retain Dallas Wilson, retain Jaden Baugh. And we'll figure out the rest. We'll build up the offensive line. We'll go out in another tight end. We'll get some depth in the running back room. We'll bring in a quarterback that better fits our system. We'll do all the things. But those 3 for the Florida Victorious, non-negotiables. They got to be here. They got to be locked in. They got to be a part of our staff. First Vernell Brown, then Dallas Wilson, now Jaden Baugh. And I'll tell you what, dude. Much like Kewan Lacy, we're talking about another running back that's being loyal to his program that will put the SEC in a position where they're must-see on Saturdays. Because Jaden Baugh's a highlight reel. And you may say, how is it a highlight reel when you have a running back that is just going to get, an average of 4.5 yards carry? It's his physicality. It's his footwork. It's his ability to throw people off of him. I mean, how many times did we do a preview and just talk about what's the key for Florida in a game? I don't know. There's a guy by the name of Jaden Baugh. He wears number 13. It's an unlucky number. How about we just force feed it until otherwise? And Billy Napier, just for whatever reason, hated him, did something wrong, pissed him off in practice, just decided to always go through the passing attack. Buster Faulkner is going to be a run-oriented offense. They are going to say, we have got to trust our ground game. We have got to trust what we have in our backfield. And they got a dude that's irreplaceable, in my opinion. And now you bring in a quarterback that knows how to run a Buster Faulkner system, and you have 2 weapons that you believe have all the upside in the world. It's a win. It's such a win for John Summerall, who is a respected coach who I think is only going to continue to flourish as he improves his career. There's so many things to like about just this move alone, of seeing a vision that was put in place and people that were on the staff go, you know what? Yeah, this is the right place for me. This is where I'm supposed to be. I can get paid millions of dollars elsewhere. I'm getting paid to stick around here. And by the way, this was, again, a player to where, oh, well, you overpaid for him to stick around. Yeah, because you had to. And this is one to where if everything goes according to plan and he hits over 1,600 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns and he's a Doak Walker finalist, nobody's going to care about this. Because guess what? He's going to be a highlighted alum that will continue to bring on the Florida name in the NFL level. And this is a 3-down NFL running back that can easily change the game.
Cole, you and I were actually funny enough talking about this a few days ago. So I want to say to our audience, we obviously hear things. Neither one of us, I know myself especially, I don't claim to be an insider of any kind. This is not per sources, but I can tell you it's interesting from the Jaden Baugh thing. I think there's a chance he went into the portal and maybe wanted a little bit more than some other schools were willing to give him. And maybe I think made him realize grass isn't always greener on the other side. I'm the dude here. I'm going to be the dude. John Summerall's made it extremely clear. I am the guy this offense, I will say, will run through. So, I mean, the negotiations were happening behind the scenes. And I don't blame the kid for exploring his options. Your head coach got fired. It is what it is. That's the time to do it if you're going to do it. But good for Florida, good for John Summerall. Now, who's handing him the ball? I don't know who that is. I think
we have a good gauge, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee. We do have a good gauge on it, but huge. I mean, Cole, would you say best running back in the SEC come back not named Kewan Lacy?
I'd say he's the best running back coming back in the SEC, including Kewan Lacy. I mean, listen, this is not an insult at all to Kewan Lacy, because I think Kewan Lacy is a stud. But if you're telling me right now I get to pick one dude to build my team around, just one, I told you at the start of the year I'd go with Jaden Baugh. Like, I mean, I have been pro Jaden Baugh for 14 months. I'm not getting off the bandwagon now. And he's coming off a 1,000-yard season.
A terrible offense,
but behind a crappy offensive personnel look. And now you're giving him Buster Faulkner as like the key weapon. I mean, far and away. If he ain't RB1, he certainly is RB2. And then RB3. And also, we keep forgetting about him. Ahmad Hardy. I mean, we're talking about the 3 best running backs potentially in college football, all residing in the Southeastern Conference for 2026.
Yeah, Jaden Baugh, 1,170 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns a season ago. Crazy to think his long was only 26. But again, he did that behind an offensive line that struggled all season, a quarterback in DJ Lagway that mightily struggled. There essentially wasn't balance on the offense, and he still found a way to get over 1,100 yards. That included, by the way, a 266-yard performance in that game against Florida State. I said 28. He had 38 carries in that game, and John Summerall said I'd give it to him another 20 times. So, yeah, he's going to get the football. Yeah, he's going to get the football early and often, to say the very least. Cole, let's go down to the Plains. There was big news from down there from a couple days ago. I do want to discuss it, though. Alex Golesh has gotten his quarterback. It comes in the form of someone he's extremely familiar with, because coming with him from Tampa, that being Byrum Brown. Speaking of the Gators, Byrum Brown beat Florida early in the 2026 season. Cole, your reaction to this one? This one feels very no-brainer. This one feels very cut and dry, like not surprised. That being said, though, I think Byrum Brown's a baller. I mean, I think this dude has the potential. They're as dynamic at the quarterback position as they've been in recent memory, I think, with Byrum Brown taking over.
If you want to know just how good Byrum Brown is, there are Miami fans upset that he is going to be going to Auburn instead of being a potential replacement for Carson Beck next year. I mean, they have given him the highest accolades. And by the way, ask Florida fans how they feel about him playing, because he was fantastic for them. Really solid player, good understanding of the offense. He had over 4,000 total scrimmage yards. And there are going to be some people who will go, well, okay, he's going from the G5 level to the SEC level. Okay, very fair. Let me remind you that Kirk Cignetti took half of his roster from JMU, and they're playing in the college football playoff semifinals. It's about culture. It's about coaching, and it's about development. Byrum Brown went from being a very solid quarterback into a premier name that people were salivating over when he entered the transfer portal because of Alex Golesh. And he's going to be a guy that is very much teaching the offense and putting them in a better position. He's got some young receivers to work with. They brought in Chaz Ninrod, the former Tennessee wide receiver. He's going to be going down to Auburn for another year. He's got his tight end over there. Another couple of young other players from USF. But it's a way to just figure out, you know what? We got our QB1. And Alex Golesh is in here to fix the faults of this team. Because let's be real. Auburn may never end up being a team that we view consistently as a 10-win roster that's going to the college football playoff. But they haven't been relevant outside of falsehood and negativity since 2019. I mean, we're talking 6 years since they've had any stability. And you can go ahead and tell me, well, you know, quarterback play is so important. Okay, well, Peyton Thorne sucked, and Jackson Arnold sucked, and Ashton Daniels wasn't that great, and everyone else that you had on the roster the last few years has been terrible. But because if they were Power 4 guys, you know, you love them. This is a dude that I think, because of fitting the offense, understanding what is the expectation underneath Alex Golesh, and being someone that can at least stabilize what are the core values of this program. Really smart move. I think it's a very solid addition for the Tigers. For the first time, it's going to feel like in a while, I think they could win some games because of their offense. I think that because if you have DJ Durkin as your defense coordinator, you'll bail yourself out of trouble in a lot of ways. I'm not going to say college football playoffs dark horse, because I think that's unjust. But it's a solid addition, and it's exactly what you want for a program that needs stability at a quarterback position that hasn't had it really, I guess, since 2014, 15, 16. I guess before Bo, and even you can maybe say Bo at best.
Cole, I'm going to list some names here. Caden Durham, Jam Miller, Harlan Berry, Rasul Faison, Trey Wisner, Ruben Owens, Diego Pavia, Nate Frazier. What do they all have in common? Byrum Brown rushed for more yards than they all did in 2025. So the stats on Byrum Brown, 1,008 rushing yards, and he had 14 rushing touchdowns on the season. Oh, by the way, that's to go along with 3,158 passing yards, 28 passing touchdowns, and just 7 picks. So, yeah, he's, again, as dynamic as any player they've had at the position. I agree with you. It's going to be weird almost to a degree, but fun to see Auburn. You know, they got a lot to replace. We're going to talk about, like, the portal numbers in a second. They've got a ton to figure out, but good
they have
place
one
to
thing
start.
Solved. That's
yeah, they have one thing, and they have a very big piece of the puzzle that is solved. Byrum Brown's a guy I think will give you an opportunity in year one of Alex Golesh to win and win at a fairly high level. Again, all things considered for a first year. Cole, I want to get into this. We talked about it on the show on Sunday, but it has this story's grown some legs, if you will, because not that the Red River Shootout needs any more juice than it already has. Parker Livingstone is going from Texas to Oklahoma. He has already made his commitment official, public, what have you. We got the news, obviously, of him entering the portal, him saying things like, this is something that was out of my control. This is where we are in college football. There was a lot of speculation. Is it Steve Sarkisian's fault? Did he force him out? You know, the Texas media comes out defending, saying they gave him a very competitive offer. He did not want said offer. And now he is an Oklahoma Sooner. Cole. Man, this one is quite interesting, to say the very least. Apparently, the kid grew up wanting to go to Oklahoma, I think is what somebody said. I'll tell you what's made me laugh more than anything about this, though. This has been peak, and I want to get into the comments here in a second because our guy Sandman, and we got some other Sooners that have chimed in on this. I know y'all got a lot of opinions on this. But this is the epitome of, you know how like fans, like in recruiting, especially with like the portal and stuff, when your school picks up a guy out of the portal, you're like, yeah, he loves our school. He loves the culture. He loves the coaches. He loves being a whatever it is. But when he picks the other school, oh, the kid's money hungry. He's just chasing the bag. Like here's a great one. Wasn't a take. He wasn't a take. Wasn't a take. We didn't really want him. That energy was on full display when Parker Livingstone went from Texas to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many, not just Texas fans, Texas media, who were singing this kid's praises all season, essentially now saying, well, you know, he wasn't that good. He's an average wide receiver 3. Oh, you know, he's not worth what they're giving him. You know, Texas is better off. Like, and I'm not even blaming them, but it's just so funny to see because it's what all fans do, right? When they're your guy, they're the best. But when they go to the rival, especially, oh my gosh. I can't believe we ever let him wear that burnt orange uniform. Can't believe we ever let him out there at DKR. This is going to be hilarious next year when they play. That's all I'm
sitting here thinking of Cam Coleman potentially going to Alabama. And what is going to be the reverb backlash from Auburn fans?
He was overrated. He's not that good.
Because if you guys didn't have a quarterback. And it's like, oh, but it's his fault that he didn't make the quarterback back. Because you find reasons and excuses. Because you want to why? Because the last thing that you want to do is see you go to a rival. You just do. And this is why I love this game. And I mean this specific game, the Red River Shootout. Because of you don't see this ever happen. You don't. Like, I get it. NIL, transfer portal. It's really big. You know, you go to the highest bidder and all that stuff. You still have some bit of respect for what is the rivalry. You still do. Like, you still realize, hey, these colors don't bleed. This doesn't mesh well. I have nothing crimson in my arsenal. Because you want to know why? It's a disgusting color. And now you're joining forces with them. Now, it's a good fit for Oklahoma because guess what? They needed wide receiver help. You lose Shivani Gibson. You lose Jaden Gibson. Deion Burks is off to the NFL. You still have Isaiah Satanga, who's going to be, I think, a really good player in year 2 of Ben Arbuckle's offense. But you need somebody else. And And you know what? The money was pretty even from what I've heard on both sides of what he got offered at Texas and what he's going to get from Oklahoma. It's about the same. But I think it's the way that he's going to be treated at a place like Oklahoma, where I'm viewed as a legit number 2 that can break out as a number 1. And that, I was disrespected in that standpoint. And for Oklahoma fans, guess what? If he would have scored a touchdown in the matchup when we were in Dallas, they would have hated him because of how dare he find a way to score on our number 1 defense. Now he's part of you. Welcome, brother. You realize the errors of your ways, believing that you could ever be a part of that 40 acres BS culture, believing that you ever should have been down there in Austin, believing that and you know what's really funny is that there's been players out there that have come openly and said, listen, it's the nature of the business. We understand it. Like Jaden Baugh dropped on Instagram today, like him sharing his PLC. He's like, I love you, dude. You got to do what's best for you. Just don't drop the horns down. Just don't drop the horns down. I was
about to say, Cole, Parker Livingstone scoring a touchdown in next year's River Shootout and throwing the horns down would feed families. I mean, that would be the ultimate heel turn troll. Oh my gosh, dude. That would be wild.
But you know what the thing is, man? And this is where, again, college football players and college football fans have to different from each other. And unfortunately, if you are a college football fan, you have to accept this. It's a new day and age. I can tell you as somebody, if I was playing, I would have never considered Auburn or I would have never considered Tennessee because of I am here looking at that program and I'm saying that's rival. That's bad blood. How dare I? You think that I would ever root for them, let alone play for them? That's not it anymore. You go to the highest bidder. And so you're going to see more of this. You will see Oklahoma players go to Texas A&M. You will see Oklahoma players go to Texas. You will see Texas A&M players go to Texas because they're going to go to the place that is better suited for their careers. And it sucks in that standpoint. But I'll tell you what, it adds more juice to rivalries because there is going to be nobody that is under more scrutiny and pressure to deliver in Red River next October than Parker Livingston. Because he said, you know what? I could have gone to Indiana. I could have gone to South Carolina. I could have gone to any school in the country. I went to the one school that I was told you don't pull for. You wish nothing but pain, infliction, disgust. You want to see them crash and burn harder than anybody else in the country. And I'm joining their side. It is the ultimate villain arc. You got on straight black hair, sleek back. You got on the jacket like the trench coat. You are full on villain mode if you are Parker Livingston. And there's nobody else that people want to see fail more on that offense than Parker next year out in Texas. And those same people were screaming for him to have a good day against Michigan 2 weeks ago.
You're not wrong that it's the day and age of college football we're in. But there's a part of me that I wish, and I get it. Because your commitment's to put together the best possible roster. And if that means removing your pride and your ego to take a guy from across enemy lines, then I guess you do it. But there's a part of me that wishes rivalries still matter to a point where it's like, hey, man, if you go to Texas or you go to Oklahoma and you enter the portal, you ain't coming here. Like we're not taking the rivals sloppy seconds. We're not playing second fiddle to you. We're not being the second choice school. I understand why that's out of the window now because just it's the portal. I kind of wish there was that screw off.
Yeah,
like, you're a Longhorn. Like you wore that jersey. You played again. Screw off. We don't want you. We're good with the guys we got. We don't want any Longhorns in our locker room. I understand. And you're right. It's new day and age when guys are like, I mean, it's crazy to think about. You're going to go through a career wearing both of those unis, playing on both sides of that game. That's
what's going to be fun, though, is that there will be old heads that were like, I will never cheer for him. He gets in the end zone. Cool story. It's great. He chose Texas first. You'll see it. Like, imagine if just, let's see. Imagine if Isaiah Satanga came on in this year and he wanted to play with Arch Manning. And he ends up having over 1,300 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. The old heads, the true Longhorns, they'll say, We could have offered him, and guess what? He still chose Oklahoma. He could have walked on with us, and he chose to take money from Oklahoma. They'll still act that way, and that's the beauty of it. But there's also a new day and age where it's like, hey, you're helping us win a championship. We don't really care. That's it.
Our guy Sandman in the comments, I definitely want to get into a few of these. Actually, we'll go to Sooner Cowboys 706 first. He said, I already ordered my Parker Livingstone jersey. Sandman says, good. He'll fit in with the other OU wide receiver bums.
I'm telling you.
Let's see. He says he's not fast, not physical, not overly athletic, not the best hands on the team. JAG, which if you don't know stands for just a guy. He says, take it from a Texas alum who closely watched every single game and even attended 8 games this season. Parker is a JAG. Again, just a guy. So, yeah, other comments coming down. I'm trying to get to them. Sooners Cowboys, we'll see next season, but OU's had a bunch of JAGs in the past. Hopefully Livingstone won't be no JAG.
He won't be. He'll be a solid player.
Sandman says he's not suddenly going to become fast or physical.
Okay. So here's my theory. And by the way, Sooners Cowboys, right? This already happened before. Brennan Thompson at one point went from Texas to OU. So it's not like this is the first time it's ever happened now. But again, he also finished his career at Mississippi State. So he didn't even stay with you guys long term. But like, I don't think that he's ever going to be a wide receiver one. Like, if you're bringing him in here to end up becoming the next Fred Biletnikoff award winner, sorry, guys. Hate to break it to you. That's not going to happen. But he could be a complimentary piece. Let's just call it as is. You need as many weapons as possible to build around John Mateer to take that next step forward. You just do. And Deion Burks was saying, and Isaiah Tank has been good. You need more. And that's why he brought in Hayden Hansen from Florida. That's why I still think that you need to go make a giant ploy for Cam Coleman. That's why you need to go out and add in some other depth pieces. But I think it'll be better than what you had last season with a lot of the guys. Jaden Gibson, Giovanni Gibson. I mean, it'll be a little bit more. But I'll tell you, he's going to have a big-time role because of right now, I don't see much when it comes to the overall identity of what the offense is. Doesn't mean he can't get there. I just don't see it right now.
Cole, that being said, we got a lot more to get to when it comes to the transfer portal madness. But before we do, there's madness with our friends over at Underdog because we've got college football playoffs. We got the NFL playoffs, which are getting going this weekend. College basketball in full swing, everything in between, guys. Our friends over at Underdog are the way to go. And again, we appreciate our friends at Underdog for their love and support of SEC Unfiltered. Football season's in full swing. Underdog's the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash, guys. This week on Underdog specifically, tomorrow night, we've got the college football playoff. Cole, I've been taking a look at some of the props, some juicy numbers out there for some of our favorites, Trinidad Chambliss, Kewan Lacy, some others as well. Obviously, college basketball, guys, I'm giving picks daily, essentially, on over-unders. We got it going yesterday, guys. Join in on the action by downloading the app today using promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, that's promo code SECU. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 and up in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Cole, let's keep it moving. Again, let's stick with the transfer portal theme. This was one I kind of added last minute to the show, but I just wanted to give everybody an update really quickly on where we stand when it comes to the transfer portal. Guys in, guys out, biggest winners, biggest losers. With that being said, this comes via the folks over at On3. This is SEC team transfer portal rankings. Want to run through these really, really quickly. At number 1, the Ole Miss Rebels. How about Pete Golding? More on that in just a second because we were talking about him a little bit earlier. At 2, you've got Texas A&M. At 3, you got Arkansas. 29 transfers out, but they've picked up 11 guys that puts them in the number 3 spot. And again, these are not national ratings. these are SEC ratings, although I should mention Ole Miss right at the top of the national ratings as well. Oklahoma at 4, Mississippi State at 5, LSU at 6, Georgia 7, Vandy 8, Florida 9, South Carolina 10, Texas 11, Kentucky 12, Mizzou 13, Alabama 14, Tennessee at 15, and all the way at 16, the Auburn Tigers, who have lost 33 players to the portal. They have brought in 13, but they've lost a lot of guys, a lot of big-time players as well after Hugh Freeze's firing. Cole, just your overall thoughts. Again, just trying to give the people a gauge on where these teams sit. Like I mentioned from the national perspective, Texas Tech is number 1. They've been crushing because when you have $1 billion in oil money, how can you be stopped? Indiana, I give them credit. I mean, my God, they're crushing the portal. But Ole Miss sits 3rd nationally. A&M sits 4th nationally. Arkansas is in the top 10 at 8. Oklahoma's at number 10. Your thoughts, overall impressions? We got 9 more days. Here's the good news and the bad news. Good news, we got 9 more days of the portal madness. The bad news is we have 9 more days of the portal madness. Thoughts to this point, biggest winners and losers in the SEC.
How about just Ole Miss right now, because of winning that game in the Sugar Bowl, gave more time for them to work out NIL deals with a lot of these players, and it also give them more time to be able to say, you can't enter the transfer portal. And if you are going to enter, it's because of there's not a spot for you long-term. But all of the key names are there. But the other thing is that they've done a really good job of backportaling in some talent defensively at the secondary position. They brought in the LSU offensive lineman that's going to add incredible depth and probably is going to be a day 1 starter for them. They're still in conversations with running backs, with linebackers. They're adding in quality names while retaining as many quality names as possible and not losing anybody to the portal. That's exactly the type of person that you want to see, because if you know how big of an impact it would be to take them down to LSU to where they're hurting you. I think Arkansas has done a good job of being able to bring in a certain brand of players. Sutton Smith's a really underrated running back. I liked his tape when he was at Memphis. I think that he could be a good pairing alongside of what you have returning next year with Braylon Russell. I think that, again, Auburn's interesting because Auburn ranks 16 out of 16. But you ask yourself, they lost so many names. Yeah, Cam Coleman hurts. I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't. But you went 5-7. Like, you weren't a team that was good. I mean, you had a terrible, terrible, terrible year. And you need a brand new culture shift. And I'm not saying that, again, adding in all USF players is going to mean, oh, look at us going on a run in the SEC. But you went 5-7 with the current roster you had. You know what that says to me? Anybody besides maybe Cam Coleman is replaceable. And I'm okay with that, because if you have to change the identity of your team. So credit where credit's due, I think, to their standpoint. A&M quietly is once again adding in some really, really, really good players that you're not going to hear a lot about going into the regular season, but I'll tell you what you will hear. You'll hear a lot about them as you get closer towards camp, because they're going to continuously grow, and a lot of them are defensive players, and that's kind of the bread and butter of what we know about a Mike Elko-led team. They're going to end up being 1st or 2nd round picks 2 years from now. So credit to a lot of, the fact that they've been able to kind of pinpoint what type of branded player they want, and they're going out and they're adding them on in. So they're all winners. Ole Miss, though, to me is the biggest, because simply winning that football game bought you more time to get to these long-term deals on NIL.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway to this point, again, guys, once portal season ends, we'll do a big show, obviously looking at the rankings and talking about each portal class. But, yeah, how are you not impressed with what Pete Golding and Ole Miss are doing? I mean, my goodness, it is truly impressive. What he's been able to do, essentially labeling himself as Portal King Pete. I mean, give him the new title, Portal King Pete. We'll see how it all shakes out. Again, there's still a lot of decisions to be made, a lot of dominoes that will fall. But I agree with you, Cole, especially what Ole Miss is doing, some of those defensive guys they brought in. And I think really the bigger wins for them have come from retaining the guys they have on their roster. Roster retention as important as it's ever been in college football. Cole, I want to do some transfer portal rapid fire because obviously, again, we don't want to go 3 hours on the show, but there's a lot of other names that some really high profile, high impact. I want to get your quick thoughts on. So we're going to run through some names. You and I give a little synopsis on it, give a little take on it, and we'll keep it moving. First off, Trey Wilson to LSU, the former Florida Gator wide receiver. I think this is a huge pickup. Whoever, if it's Damon Williams, if it's somebody else, this dude's a baller. This dude's a playmaker. He's got to get healthy, but huge get for Lane Kiffin and company.
When healthy, top 10 wide receiver in the SEC. I'll go a step further. Look at what Caden Lee can do in the slot. That's what you're going to get from Trey Wilson if he's fully healthy. It's a massive win, I think, for LSU. He was getting looked at by Texas Tech. So to keep him in the SEC, to be that security blanket for a young a young quarterback, in my opinion, automatic win. Fully healthy, we're talking about a 1,000-yard season for a guy out in Baton Rouge this year.
Cole, Hollywood Smothers to Alabama. This is one that I think it was interesting. There's been a lot of maybe, I don't know if panic's a strong word, maybe with Bama fans about like, hey, what the hell is next? Hollywood Smothers. I saw some OU fans kind of trying to poke holes in this. He didn't do anything with us. He was a baller at NC State. Yeah. It's a good pickup. I love this pickup. I think this is immediately you are, with all due respect to Jam Miller, and, you know, obviously he's now gone. You're upgrading at running back. I think this puts Daniel Hill in a good position. I don't think I'm not saying it disrespectfully. He's not an RB1. I think he's a guy that can be your third down back, your goal line package back, short yardage back. Hollywood Smothers is a legitimate RB1, though, should help that running game immensely. A running game that obviously after this year desperately needs help.
Yeah, over 1,000 total yards of offense last season. He had 7 touchdowns. He averaged about 5.7 yards a play after contact. You know what the thing is, dude? Alabama's been waiting for a Ryan Grubb type running back that can do a lot of good. Out of the backfield, pass catching, good between the trenches, home run speed. And they didn't have that this year. They got that. This is the closest thing that Alabama's going to have to Jahmyr Gibbs since Jahmyr Gibbs came onto campus. And when you have a running back like that you compare alongside with a new quarterback and with some very good wide receivers, it's a win. Like, there were teams that I was looking at just going, oh, that's going to be a good fit. That's a good fit. I looked up and down. I said, if Hollywood Smothers goes into a Ryan Grubb offense, game changer. Like, there was one, every once in a while you have a conversation with yourself and you're like, if he goes there, that's dangerous. That was the player I was like, if he goes to Alabama, that's very dangerous for what is going to be both the passing attack and the short yardage situation. Because he's lightning in a bottle. And what's so funny is he grabbed the Alabama hat at his commitment date with NC State on the table, flipped it off, and then put the Oklahoma hat on. And he's played for now 3 of the 4 teams that were on the table. I think that's fantastic in the world of college football.
Yeah, it's never meant more to finish second in a kid's recruiting than it does right now. Also, by the way, immediately becomes one of the best names in the SEC. Certainly a preseason all-name team with a name, Hollywood. Cole, he hasn't committed yet, but Sam Leavitt, we've mentioned, was in Baton Rouge sitting courtside with Lane Kiffin when the whole Damon Williams stuff went down. He is visiting Tennessee. Thoughts on Sam Leavitt potentially being involved?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan?
I mean, I'm not a fan of this one. And I'm not saying that Tennessee doesn't need to go after a quarterback. They were in on the Josh Hoover sweepstakes. They supposedly at least reached out to Drew Mestemaker. But this to me feels like one of, we know that we don't have a quarterback currently in the building outside of Joey Aguilar that we can trust. And Joey Aguilar, we don't know what his status is, so we got to bring somebody in for competition. This feels very much like I bought off more than I could chew if I was Sam Leavitt. I really wasn't as polished as people want. I'm the number 1 quarterback in the portal, according to On3, but people don't seem to like me. I'm not the guaranteed fit. I got to go elsewhere. I just don't think it's going to work with Josh Heupel's offense. I think that you're looking at about a 9-3, 10-2. Honestly, there's another quarterback that just joined forces with this head coach that we talked about a couple of days ago with Kentucky. I like him better in Will Stein's offense than way more than I do in Josh Heupel's offense.
Speaking of Kentucky, Cole, let's jump there because Kenny Minchey, the Notre Dame quarterback, is headed to Lexington. He was a 4-star prospect, the 2026 class. Didn't really play a ton this year, obviously, for Notre Dame. But from Hendersonville, Tennessee, your thoughts on Kenny Minchey and Will Stein teaming up?
Before you said anything about Damon Williams, this was the storyline of college football because on Tuesday, we were at the FCS National Championship, on Monday night, my apologies, and it was said, oh, the Nebraska quarterback is head of Kentucky. And you're like, okay, cool. So Dylan Raiola is head of Kentucky. No. He had committed to Nebraska, and then Kentucky said,
nothing better than a portal flip.
Here's more money. Flip. We're just going to give you a little bit more. Let's throw you in here. Oh, now you're going to Kentucky. It's going to be really fun, I think, for Will Stein to have a quarterback that pushed CJ Carr to the brink. Because there was a lot of conversation from people out in Notre Dame that they thought that Kenny Minchey was going to be the starting quarterback. So you have a guy that has all the intangibles and upside to really flourish in an offense with a guy that's been able to work with Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix. You got to build around him, though. He's a young quarterback to where if you expect anything other than, I would say, a 5-7, 6-6 season and underwhelming results year one, to where if he does well, he may be right back in the portal. You're going to have to make sure that you add in running back help, wide receiver help, offensive line help. But Will Stein gets a quarterback, and he gets a quarterback that I think a lot of people look at and says the traits are there for a really promising player.
Cole, finally, Florida gets Aaron Philo. Okay. Philo from Georgia Tech, which, why is this significant? Well, that's where Faulkner was just at, their offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner being there. Thoughts on this one? I mean, are we banking on this is going to be Florida's QB1? Is this the dude of the future? I mean, it makes sense with the Faulkner connection. He didn't play a ton, obviously. 6'2", 220 out of Bogart, Georgia. Limited playing time, like I said, for the Yellow Jackets behind Haynes King. What do you make of this one?
So they also were able to retain Tramel Jones, the freshman quarterback that filled on in place of DJ Lagmar. That's a big deal because I think there is so much upside with him as a player. But if you're paying for Aaron Philo to come on in, that just means week one you're starting. Like if you told me Tramel Jones beats out Aaron Philo, I would say you mean Tramel Jones is starting in place of Aaron Philo because he's hurt. Like that would be my theory. You're bringing in a dude who understands how to run a Buster Faulkner offense and catch everybody up to speed. It may end up being a very good team-friendly contract that benefits both parties. You're playing for a major conference. You're playing for a major brand. You're in an offense that already has a good understanding of what you do and don't do well. But all this is to me is that it's a week one starter that if anything goes south, you have your backup plan. And Tramel Jones was very well respected coming out of high school. So I think it's a good win. I think it's a good player that is going to be able to keep the offense afloat. The big win to me is getting Bernal Brown, getting Dallas Wilson, and getting Jaden Baugh. Like you could have thrown, Lucky Day Jr. out there from Chickasaw County, Mississippi, and been like, hey, he's starting. I would have been like, you got Jaden Baugh back there, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. We're good. Everything's fine. No problem.
Cool. Before we get out of here, at least before we take some questions and then get out of here, one quick note, not transfer portal related. And this one is significant, not just because of the news today, but what it means moving forward. Because Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, there was a lot of speculation about his future. Would he return for another season in Tuscaloosa? Would he go to the NFL? Would he transfer? There was some talk about him maybe potentially hitting the portal, going elsewhere. He did today declare for the 2026 NFL draft, which I think Cole was the right move. Apparently, his father has said every NFL GM they have spoken with has given him a first-round grade. Now, have those people lied before? I'm sure, but I will say this. I do think Ty Simpson, even if he's not a first-rounder, second, early third guy, I thought he was good for Alabama. He suffered because of no running game. I know his season obviously ended horrifically in the game against Indiana, but I think his stock is high enough to make the move. So that's big news. Maybe bigger news, though, is what this now means, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Keelon Russell era in Tuscaloosa. A guy that fans have been clamoring to see, excited to see. He's now going to be the dude. I don't think there's really any, maybe the coaching staff sells us going into spring ball, of course, like a quarterback competition, or we're not going to name a starter. I would fully expect Keelon to be named the starter coming out of spring practice, going into the summer. This is a dude super highly regarded, super highly rated. Folks have been so stoked to see him take the field. And Cole, this Alabama football team is now his.
What I love is that Alabama made sure that they gave an opportunity to Ty Simpson. But Ty Simpson was pushed throughout practice, both by Austin Mack and both by Keelon Russell. So that showed you how well that they really felt about this quarterback room going into 2025. He delivered. For the most part, he was viewed as the best quarterback in the SEC with accuracy and a lot of the intangibles. But there was a conversation that was probably had about your value right now, where there's not a legit QB1 outside of Fernando Mendoza, who still has yet to declare. He will, but he hasn't declared yet. And Dante Moore hasn't declared yet. Teams are always going to need quarterbacks. Teams are always going to view that position as the most important. They will oversell. And we can't promise that you are going to be QB1 after the season, because we believe that the kid who is waiting in the wings may have more traits that are going to be fitting for us long term. And you can't afford to have him just sitting and waiting, because look at what happened after the South Carolina game. We saw somebody from South Carolina staff walk on up, and Keelon Russell was like, hey, nope, keep walking. That would be it every single week, because that's how good Keelon Russell is. And I think what's really interesting is that you really did like what you saw from Ty Simpson. And I think that he'll have a good NFL career, whether that be a backup, fringe starter, quality dude. And you'll appreciate what he did for Alabama, bringing them back to the college football playoff. That will always be Keelon Russell's first quarterback that took you to the playoff. It just will. But I think Keelon Russell has all the intangibles that you want in a guy like Michael Penix Jr. And Michael Penix Jr. was a guy who lit Washington on fire. And when he did that, they became a threat to win a national title. And you got good wide receiver play, and you're going to go out and you're going to continue to build on the offensive line, and you're making defensive changes. There's just so much that you look at to where now this is going to, I think, feel more and more and more like what Keelon Russell's Alabama is supposed to be. And there are people who are soured on Keelon Russell, and I get it. They were a soft team in the playoff. They were soft defensively at times. They were soft on the offensive line, and they got to fix that type of culture. But from a quarterback standpoint, guys, the reason he was brought to Tuscaloosa is look at what he did with Penix. Look at what he did with Jake Haener when he was at Fresno State. I mean, look at the track record of what he was able to accomplish. And then you throw in the wins. That, to me, is what's the selling point of we got the right guy still in the building. And now you're going to get up with the quarterback that is going to fit the system best. So Alabama may finally reach that level of, yeah, there's still going to be some concerns. We may not win the national championship every year, but we brought in Keelon Russell because of this was supposed to be the identity. And that's a good thing. I think that's a thing that's really going to sell for the future.
The future of Keelon Russell in Tuscaloosa is probably going to come down to the performance of his young quarterback. So, yeah, it's but let's see him pan out. I'm excited. There's been tons of excitement around this kid. Tons of excitement. I do agree with you. I think in that Grubb DeBoer system, maybe we see that this is the guy they've been waiting on. This is the dude they've been waiting to build their offense around, build their football team around. There's obviously other things. They got to run the football in 2026, but this kid very well might be a lightning rod. I mean, I've talked to people, and I'm sure I know you have as well, Cole, but talking to people in Tuscaloosa, they'll tell you the way the ball effortlessly is coming out of his hand, it reminds them of like a Bryce Young. Yeah. So at least the last time they saw that. It's a hell of a comparison, but this kid's got hella talent apparently. So excited to see it play out. He'll be a big, very talented, but a big unknown.
You know what he'll be? Season. He will be the surprise of everyone that most people who actually have watched him play before go, oh, yep, totally saw it. Like, it's like, oh, wow, Keelon Russell. And like everybody around Tuscaloosa was just like, that was it. Like, remember when South Carolina fans were very much all over the Lenore Sellers? We got to keep him Florida, South Carolina. He's going to be here forever. We know he's going to be set. And we're like, let's see what he does. And then they were all like, oh, see, we told you. That's going to be Keelon Russell, I think, by the middle of next season. Like when they travel to take on Tennessee in Rocky Top, you're going to have people talking about Keelon Russell in a way that I don't think even Alabama fans thought he'd be talked about.
Cole, that being said, let's take a few questions before we get out of here, guys. Would love to hear from you all, your questions, your comments. Like I mentioned, in the very near future, we are going to have a voicemail line, text line, where you guys can chime in directly. If you want a direct path to it, even easier than just the comments. Again, our guy Sandman is just in here blowing it up as always, dude. Our guy, by the way, we've got Miss Terry's bathwater up in here. I love the comment he said. He said, wish Simpson would have gone to Tennessee. It would have tanked his stock, but would have been fun.
He at least understands it. He respects it. I can too.
He gets it. Let's see. I'm looking for others here. Sandman, yesterday's price ain't today's price. Those IU players are getting paid now. Yeah. Everybody is. Everybody is. Miss Terry's bathwater. Minnesota is the best job in college football. $5 million to win 7 games a year.
To be fair, Miss Terry's bathwater. Kentucky was the best job in college football because they had realistic expectations, and they just said, "Mark Stoops, do that," and he couldn't at the very end, and that's ultimately why he got fired. But he had the best job in college football, in my opinion.
He did. He did. Let's see. Sooner Cowboy says Hollywood Smothers a good pickup for Alabama. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he's immediate upgrade at the running back position. So, yeah. Oh, here we go. Reform Salt. Cuban is funding Indiana. It's both, not one or the other. How about Mark Cuban?
Dropping $1 billion?
Is that how much what did he drop? Do we know?
No, but he's a billionaire.
Right.
Enough.
Plenty. What is the connection with Cuban and Indiana?
He went to IU.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad talks about it all the time. And he hates Mark Cuban. So he's like, he's one of the bad alumni here. And I'm like, you do realize that he's funding. You realize that he is funding your future and basically paying for Signetti out of pocket.
Wild. Let's see. Randy says, I hope the Aggies get Washington from Baylor.
Bryson Washington.
Okay.
He's a fun player. He'd be a good complimentary piece alongside with Lavian Moss. Ruben Owens for next year. I think that he is going to go elsewhere, though. But it would be interesting to see if he goes there.
Reform Salt says Lane has never won anything. He's a good offensive coach, but he is a toxic dude. I mean, I'll give Lane his flowers from the standpoint he got Ole Miss to the playoff. He built the team that got them to the playoff. Is he a toxic dude? I mean, yeah. Yeah, when you knowingly do stuff like Lane does and you take enjoyment in it, that's toxic. That's like the definition of toxic.
That is quite literally a definition of toxic. We talked about this on Monday when we were hanging out. Lane is like that perfect 10 that also has like 6 restraining orders put against her. Like, that's what it is. And then, you know what? And we talked about, like, John Summerall. John Summerall's a 7. But he comes from a good family background, pays his own bills. He treats you every once in a while out for dinner. You'll appreciate that 7 because it'll grow with time. You'll love that. It's going to end up being a really big win for you. It is. So, like, yeah, Lane's fun for a night. Lane's fun for a year. You never know if he's going to be leaving you or not, and then he's going to be trolling you on the way out.
You don't marry Lane.
No.
You don't marry Lane.
You enjoy Lane's company, but that's about it.
There for a good time, not a long time.
For a long time.
That is Lane. How about this? T. Young, Lagway to UW is all but official according to agents.
I will be interested to see if that happens. Now, Bo Pabula, reportedly from Mizzou, is at UW right now. So he's being
really,
yeah,
interesting
because he was looking at Nebraska, and Nebraska they signed the UNLV kid, Anthony Calandra or whatever. So I will be very intrigued to see where Lagway lands. Now, if he does go to Washington, I am fully intrigued.
Jake says Mizzou getting Austin Simmons is an underrated pickup. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the week. I like that pickup a lot. That's a hell of a pickup in my opinion. Because I think Austin Simmons, I still believe Austin Simmons can be a star in the SEC. I do.
My only theory and fear is that Chip Lindsey is going to be the offense coordinator. And I have my reservations on Chip Lindsey from a quarterback development standpoint. Because there are things that you love about him. Number one, just great arm. Incredible arm strength. But the turnovers are a problem. And on top of that, there's also the question mark of him with the decision-making, his footwork. Am I going to see more growth when it comes to that standpoint? If so, then by all means, it's a huge win for Mizzou. If not, it's a very solid pickup that is going to have a lot of faults.
Let's take one more here, Cole. Luis Martinez II on Twitter says, just joining now. Sorry if it's a duplicate, Chris. I know you still have love for USC. Do you think they become the surprise team of the portal? Cole, we didn't mention they did pick up, I believe, 2 offensive linemen yesterday,
Yep.
one from Purdue and one from, do you recall the other?
Michigan State, maybe.
Something
They got
like
Chris
that.
Jones, the defensive tackle from Georgia.
They did. They did get him. I know they got the kid from Purdue because his name is like Purvey.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's very intriguing.
Very interesting name. Do they become the surprise team of the portal? I mean, honestly, I think you're probably going to see Shane Beamer do what he's done in years past, which is piece it together with diamonds in the rough, quote unquote, and try to develop the hell out of them. I mean, even when they struck gold with like Kyle Kennard, Demetrius Knight, those guys weren't, Kyle Kennard was a good player at Georgia Tech, but he wasn't conference defensive player of the year. So, yeah, I think that's probably their strategy more than anything. I'm just fascinated, Cole, if they can stock up enough offensive linemen after they lost the entire offensive line. Granted, that offensive line stunk, but I mean, there were some dudes, you and I were talking, there were some dudes that departed that fans were fired up when they got them committed and signed and very high recruiting profiles, and all them dudes gone. So
I'm intrigued with them because they won big by keeping Nick Harbor, Lenore Sellers, and Dylan Stewart.
It's kind of like the Florida thing you were saying. Like, you got to keep the 3-headed monster first and then worry about all the other details.
But the thing is that, like, also in a day and age where there's so much transfer portal moves of you're going to sign a contract and then afterwards just bail on out, it feels like all of them are locked into place, and that's a good thing and that they want to be there. But that just can't be the only moves you make. Oh, yeah, we kept the 3 and then we lose everybody else. You are right, though. What's happened with a place like South Carolina is they will find dudes that nobody is talking about, and by the season's end, we can't stop talking about them. So maybe, like, by the time that we get to the end of the portal period, quiet. Yeah, they add in some names. They're solid. But because of the development of having a Kendall Browse as your new offensive coordinator, getting a Stan Drayton as your running backs coach, getting a new offensive line coach, they're better prepared for the NFL. And we're in November of next season going, look at what they added in the portal. Look at all these names that just were such a good find and a niche figure outing for what this team is supposed to be. I think that's where you're looking at a team like South Carolina at this point.
Cole, that being said, let's put a pin in it, guys. We really appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you for your questions, your comments, always engaging, and, of course, just tuning into this show, whether it's via our live show, Facebook, YouTube, or via podcast. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Also, don't forget, of course, we will be live tomorrow. It is game day eve. Ole Miss and Miami will be live post-game to react to everything, as we always are, content bleeding out of the eyeballs. Y'all already know the drill. The Overtime Drive will return Monday, 2 o'clock Central, Monday, Wednesday. Every Monday, Wednesday is when you can tune in and listen to Cole and I yell at each other. So until next time, again, we appreciate you all tuning in. As always, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out where you get your podcasts all across your favorite social media platform, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, at Mr. Cole Thompson, make sure you follow him. I'm Chris Phillips at CPhilly19, all social media platforms. We hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. This is the Overtime Drive. As always, we can't say thank you enough for your love and support. Final words, Cole. Hotty toddy. Let's get an SEC team to the national title, damn it. Let's do it. Please. Let's get an SEC team to the Natty. Again, y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday. Take care. We'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Fiesta Bowl on deck. Cheers, folks.